Hello everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video which is going to combine two different steps. The first one is going to be about the technical breakdown of each kind of equipment, because even if Wargaming gives us some information about each of them, they are not enough to understand the mechanism that goes with each. And in a second time, we will talk about how to equip effectively your tanks by taking into consideration some overall questions working for pretty much every tanks to understand how to equip them properly. So let's not lose too much time and jump directly into it. So, the first thing to highlight is the fact that the equipment are splitted in three different categories. As you can see, we have the combat power, which is mainly going to be about your gun. We have the vitality which will prevent injuries and keeping the integrity of your tank, and specialization, equipment tree, that will allow you to modify your mobility and your view range mostly. So, concerning the combat power, we have three different stages. We have three different stages for every kind of equipment, and we are gonna go on them one by one, explaining everything we have to know. So, at the beginning, you have the choice between gun rammer and equipment, allowing you to decrease your rate of fire, which means every time you choose this equipment, your reload will drop by 7%. And concerning the calibrated shells, it will increase your penetration by 5% for every kind of tanks with every kind of shells, gold, regular or high explosive ones. No difficulties here to understand how both of these works. Next, we have the enhanced gun laying drive and the supercharge. So, concerning the gun, the enhanced gun laying drive, it will decrease your aiming speed by 10%, allowing you to focus your opponent faster. The supercharge is a bit special and needs more explanation. First, you must understand one thing: the further you shoot in this game, the more penetration you lose over the distance. For example, if you shoot a mouse from 100 meters, you will have more chances to penetrate it than if you shoot it at 200 meters, even if you shoot at the same spot. The exact same spot from 100 meters or 200 meters. And that's where this equipment arrives. The supercharge allows two things. It allows your shells to be faster while firing by increasing the shell velocity of 30%, and in the same time it allows your shells to lose only half the penetration it's supposed to lose regularly if you are not using the equipment over the distance. By using this, your penetration over the distance will decrease 2 times slower, which technically speaking increase your penetration over the distance. Now let's talk about the last one. In the combat power, it's simple. We have the choice between a gun stabilizer that does the exact same thing as the enhanced gun laying drive by decreasing the aiming time even more, or a refined gun which will allow you to have a better gun dispersion. So, concerning the first one, it allows you to focus faster, as we already said, and the second one allows you to avoid missing your target, even if you're not fully focused, by decreasing the chances of the shell not going where you're aiming. So that's a really fine thing for every gun having a gun dispersion above 0.34 and more. Next, concerning the combat power, it's over. Let's talk about the vitality one. So, concerning this one, we start with something we definitely need to explain. We have the improved module, which is an equipment that, in case of ramming and ramming only, will allow you to protect your modules from being damaged. What does it mean? When you ram someone, which consists of hitting it not with your gun but directly with your tank, you have a probability to see your modules damaged. And this equipment decreases the chances of your modules being damaged by 10% while ramming. And it will also decrease the number of hit points you will lose while ramming by 20%. The other one is the defense system. What does it do? It's a bit different, because this one will protect your vehicle modules in only one case: when someone shoots at you and penetrate. You will see the chances of a penetrating shot doing damage decreased by 10% on the engine, 8% on the crew, and 7% on the ammo rack, which means your opponents will struggle more to be able to damage your crew or your modules. Next, it's about the structure of the tank. We have the choice between the enhanced armor and the improved assembly. So let's talk about the enhanced armor. It will increase the armor of your tank by 4% everywhere, hull and turret, which means your tank will have better armor than the standard one without the equipment. The improved assembly here, it's quite the same, but not... it's the same and not the same at the same time. It will let you have the regular armor, but you will increase the number of life points you have by 6%, allowing you to sustain more in battle in case you take maybe it will allow you to sustain more shots, for example. Next, for the last one, it's about the reparations on the battlefield. You have two choices: the enhanced tracks, an equipment that allows you two things. Your tracks will be able to take more shots before breaking. For example, let's take an example. You know what? You have two shots in the tracks instead of one to destroy them, thanks to this equipment, and it will also allow your tracks to be repaired to its full potential instead of just repaired. What do I mean? When your tracks are broken on the battlefield and you wait for it to be repaired, you can see that they will appear yellow into the tank structure HUD, And with this equipment, if your crew repairs the track, they will appear like they never had been damaged in the first place. Now, the second one, the toolbox, it's quite simple to understand. When one of your modules is destroyed, it takes some time for your crew to repair it. And if you don't use a repair kit, it will take, for example, if you break the turret, it's gonna take 20 to 50 seconds. But if you use this equipment, your repair time will decrease by 30%. So it's really something important. Now, finally, let's talk about the specialization. God damn it, I can't say this word. That's terrifying. Let's talk about the specialization equipment tree. What do you need to know about this one? The first lot of equipment lets you choose between the improved optics and the camo net. So, there is a slight difference between both of them. The improved optics will increase your spotting range by 10%, which means that you will see the enemy tanks sooner than your actual regular spotting range without the equipment. It's very useful for mediums and lights. The second one is the camo net. It's simple as well. It will increase by 10% your vehicle camouflage rating while not moving, by 5% while moving, and by 2% after a shot. It's really effective for campers, especially in TDs. To make it effective, just keep in mind one thing: you must remain stationary 3 seconds at least to make it work, or else you will not get your 10% camo value increase while camping. The second choice of equipment is about the mobility. The first one is the improved control, that will increase the traverse speed of your vehicle by 10%. And the other one is the engine accelerator, that will increase both your maximum speed and your traverse speed by 5%. So you need to choose between a 10% buff that will only buff one aspect of your mobility, the traverse speed, or an overall buff of less than 10% because it's 5%, but at least it's gonna be on both the mobility, the speed, and the traverse speed. And now, for the last equipment, which is about consumables, it's simple as well. You have the choice between a 50% cooldown in the use of them, which means, for example, if you use adrenaline, when it expires, the delay to use it again will be 15% decreased. Or you have the other one, which will allow you to basically run the adrenaline for a longer period of time because it increases its duration by 30%. But we are not over yet because we have to say one last word. I need to check an auto-loading tank for that, so I'm gonna go for the bad shots, because as you can see we didn't talk about the improved ventilation. So, concerning the improved ventilation, it will basically increase all the stats of the vehicle by 5%. The mobility, the traverse speed, the overall speed, the gun reload time, etc. The only thing it doesn't touch is the armor of the tank, which is not included in this 5%. So, I think the breakdown for equipment is complete, therefore let's jump into the second part of the video, how to equip effectively your tanks. I'm gonna give you some general tips you can ask yourself to understand how to properly equip your tanks. That's the technique I'm using since the release of these equipments, and it worked pretty well for me judging by my stats, so you can trust me on this one, boys. So, for the first equipment slot, ask yourself, is my tank an auto-loading tank or not? If the answer is yes, you always go for the calibrated shells, and if the answer is no, you go for the gun rammer. The second one, the question you need to ask yourself is my tank aiming time fast or not? If your aiming time is above 3 seconds, you can take the enhanced gun laying drive, and if it's below 3 seconds, it's up to you to choose the enhanced gun laying drive or the supercharge, but keep in mind that supercharge is useless to take if you're about to play your tank in close combat. It's mainly for the tank destroyer class. Next, the last one of the combat power zone. And the question is my tank a good sniper? What do I mean by that? Is my tank's gun dispersion above or below 0.33? If it's below, you go for the vertical stabilizer right there to increase your focus time, and if it's above 0.33, you take the refined gun to make sure to hit your target when firing. Now let's talk about the vitality equipments. For the first equipment slot, ask yourself 2 questions. Is my tank a good rammer? And am I going to play my tank so aggressively that I will ram tanks at least 1 battle out of 3? If the answer to both, and only if the answer of this question is both yes, you take the improved modules. But if the answer is no to one of these questions, you go for the defense system. Concerning the level 2 slots, ask yourself, is the part of my tank that I will expose to my enemies while shooting armored enough to bounce regular shells? If the answer is yes, you go for the enhanced armor to increase even more your chances to make your enemies bounce, and if it's not the case, if it's a no, you take the improved assembly. Finally, for the repairs, ask yourself, am I playing a tank that can spot effectively in every kind of situations? If the answer is yes, you take the enhanced tracks, and if the answer is no, you take the toolbox. Finally, to finish with the specialization equipment tree, for the first one, you ask yourself, am I camping in my tank destroyer? If the answer is yes, you take the camo net. And also, watch some replays to get good, you fucking newbie. And if the answer is no, if you are playing something else than a tank destroyer, you take the improved optics. Second one, ask yourself, is the traverse speed of my tank above 35 degrees per second or no? If the answer is no, you take the improved control, and if the answer is yes, you go for the engine accelerator. And finally, for the consumables, it's simple. Just ask yourself, is my tank a fast reloading one compared to other tanks at the same tier? If the answer is no, you go for the consumable delivery system, and if the answer is yes, you take the high-end consumables. So, it's finally done. I think that now you know how to equip your tank effectively, or at least you have an idea on how to do it. And I'm sorry about the video length, because I really wanted to make it clear so it can be a tutorial for new players in order to get better. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, like and share. Don't forget that you're not here to be better, but to be the best. Pantoufleee, over.